So I give up on it, file my thesis, move back to Edmonton, back into my parents' house, and as soon as I moved back to Edmonton, I realized that having an MFA in theater, it's a lot like having a fedora hat. Like, society actually thinks less of you with one than without. I'm less qualified for jobs now because I'm an obvious flight risk. So they're like, oh, you have a passion that isn't customer service? Get out, get out. And I have to sell for some very shitty jobs. I get a part-time job working labor, a part-time job working as a server in a white spot restaurant. And it's during this time that I'm kind of regretting everything I've done in the past 2 years. I'm regretting going to grad school. I'm regretting coming out of the closet because I'm not meeting any guys I like. In fact, I'm meeting women I like, the other servers at the white spot. But the problem is, once you go Facebook official as gay, it's very hard to pull that one back. You have to be like, no, the power of prayer works. So, it's during this time that I get this email. Hey, babe. Now, this is big. He's never called me babe before. He's never called his female friends babe. This is a name he is using exclusively for me. I'm babe. Pig in the city. Woo. Quick question. Now, quick question is one of those terms you only really use to diffuse a bigger question. No one's like, hey, quick question, what's your favorite color? It's always like, quick question, did you sell both your kidneys? I'm hoping to go away on vacation in November. Would you be interested in coming with me? Coming? No, that's too much. It will be to one of those all-inclusive resorts. Now that's big, because once you get to an all-inclusive resort, there's not much you can do there except for like spend time with the person you came with, and get sunburned. And in my virginal mind, the sunburn would like heighten the sensation of the sex. I don't know. Interested. Now this is the big one. You know how like when serial killers taunt the police and they look and they manage to catch them because of like a comma? They're like, oh, this comma means he's in a farmhouse in Wisconsin, and then they catch him. That's what this is. Because in this very short email, he has used the word interested twice. And that's a tell, because he is a very good writer. He hates repetition. So the fact that he has chosen to use interested twice, it's got to have a double meaning. Like interested in me, interested in you, interested in a future together.
Oh, nice.
Let me know what you think. ... Now, ... It's very loaded. It's kind of like an invitation to project whatever emotion you want onto the email. It's like a free tile in Scrabble, and I am choosing that tile to be an eggplant emoji. Yours, he already belongs to me.
Oh, great.
Arthur. Would you go if you were me?
No.
I could have used you so much. No, I know that this scenario isn't great, because like the worst case scenario here is way too grim. Like let's say we go to some Club Med in the middle of nowhere, he meets someone because he's Arthur, I don't because I'm me, and I just have to spend $2,000 just so I can spend a whole week small talking with Jimmy Buffett fans while I wait for a sock to be pulled off our doorknob. Like, are you guys done yet? Terrible. So I strike up a counteroffer. I say, Arthur, I think that's a great idea. I'd love to go on vacation with you. But how about instead of going to some fancy resort with free drinks and all that, we went somewhere actually fun. Like Disneyland. Because who's he going to hook up with there? A family of 4? And I love Disneyland. Disneyland is one of my favorite places in the world. At this point in my life, it's one of the few places I've been to outside of Alberta. And I just remember, like, even when my parents would take us, like, being 8 years old, walking around the park and just having this feeling where it's just like, I can't wait to come back here with someone I'm in love with. Because if you can block out the sound of screaming children, Disneyland is an amazing date. Because you can't go to Disneyland without going on Splash Mountain. And you can't go on Splash Mountain without like deep spooning the person in front of you. Which I think is why they added the splash. Just to explain away any wetness on the clothes afterwards. It's an alibi mount is what it should be called. And because I've been dicked around so many times by Arthur, I know that I need to break this cycle of casualness. The first time we kiss, it needs to be big, it needs to be romantic, it needs to be epic, it needs to be Disney. Like there needs to be literal fireworks going on in the background when we kiss, which the park has covered. They have a 9 p.m. fireworks display, so I format the whole day around that. Like we'll start the day off with all the dangerous, scary rides, get those out of the way. Slowly ease our way into the more romantic, dark rides where it's just you sitting next to each other. Ending at 8:30 with Pirates of the Caribbean, most romantic ride in the park. It's like a tunnel of love with cartoon rape scenes. It's amazing. Then we'll go out to New Orleans Square, 8:59. 8:59 and 59 seconds. Swoop in for that first kiss. Then, would you look at that? I guess Walt approves.
And you're listening to Jenna Queries on 100.5 FM, CFRO, Vancouver's Cooperative Radio. That was Leif Oleson-Cormack, who will be at the 2022 Fringe Festival. Welcome.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, go ahead and introduce yourself a little bit and tell us your pronouns.
Okay. My name's Leif Oleson-Cormack. I'm a comedian from Edmonton, Alberta. I'm just touring through Vancouver with my one-man show called The Disney Delusion. And my pronouns are he, him.
So you're going to be at Fringe. So it's going to be starting tomorrow, Friday, September 9th, running until the...
till the 17th.
Awesome. And yeah, you were just nominated for the Just for Laughs prize for the Best English Comedy at the Montreal Fringe Festival.
That's correct, yeah.
What got you into comedy?
I mean, I've always loved comedy. I've always loved making people laugh and like mining my experiences for joke fodder. So yeah, I've as long as I can remember, it's something I've always wanted to do. So yeah.
Yeah. So you did Montreal. What's the best city you think is to perform in?
The best city to perform in? I mean, it depends. It depends. Like, they all have their positives. Montreal has a language barrier sometimes. Like some of the shows, I would hear people speaking French in the lobby before I go on, and I'd be like, okay, it's not everything's going to land. But yeah, it really depends. I did 6 cities this year. I'm looking forward to Vancouver because I've done stand-up in Vancouver and it's been great. Like the crowds there are amazing.
Yeah.
Edmonton was really good. That was probably the best city of the run so far. Winnipeg was also pretty amazing. Yeah, I mean, each city has its challenges and you have to shape the show to respond to those challenges, I think.
Yeah, so your website's disneydelusion.com. So I guess this piece is kind of very formative for you.
Oh, well, yeah. I mean, that's not my main website. That's just like a website I made for the sake of the Fringe show. My real website is leifoc.com.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
But you can get tickets at disneydelusion.com. So until they sue me and I have to take it down.
Hopefully not super soon, but yeah.
Cool. I mean, I would like to see them try to get the money, like, because I got nothing. So
it's the life of a comedian.
Yeah, I guess, enjoy some student loan debt, I guess.
So I guess you're just are you doing mainly comedy professionally, like, or do you do what's your day job if you have one?
I do have a lot of odd jobs just to be able to do comedy. One of my main jobs is writing scripts for video games.
Oh, cool.
I write for the video game industry. And I also do labor stuff, like just anything that can have my nights free so I can do stand-up.
Yeah. Kind of the big artist thing.
Yeah, totally.
When it comes to like, public speaking, and how do you memorize your monologues?
Okay, it depends. Like for stand-up, I basically just write it. I'll test out the jokes. You start like 30 seconds at a time where you're just like, I have a premise. I'm going to go up. I'm going to tell a joke. If it works, then I'll remember it. And if it doesn't, I'll probably forget it. And then it's very slow. For this show, it was a lot different because I started developing right when audiences started coming back for the Fringes and stuff. So I didn't really get to workshop this story in front of anyone, in front of any audiences before I did the Fringe. So what I would do was I would take people out to dinner and I would just be like, I'm going to hog the conversation for an hour. I'll pay for the meal and I'm just going to tell you this story. And I would record it. And then I did that about like 15 times with 15 good friends. And then I would listen to it over and over again as I jogged. And then the next time I tell it, it'd be a little better and then a little better. And then I would cut stuff, add stuff. And that's kind of how I developed this one, because this is the longest I've ever done a show on stage, like 1 hour. It's usually like
that's
45,
super. So. Yeah.
So
how has being queer affected you being a comedian?
It stopped me from doing it. I identify as queer or like bisexual, but in like every straight person's eyes, I'm gay, so that's fine. Like when I say I'm bisexual, it just means that I hooked up with a few dudes and too many people found out. Like that's that's how straight people see it. I started doing comedy when I was in my early 20s. I did it for about 2 years, but I realized and I was like, I wasn't great at it, but I was like doing basically very impersonal stuff. And I did this one show in Edmonton, and it was just like at a redneck bar, and all these guys were like, "No fags on stage," and I was just like, "Holy shit!" And it made me stop. That's why I went into theater, because it was just like, no one's got my back here. I was a little too early for this, and I mean, it's kind of my lifeblood. It's the thing I love doing the most. So I eventually grew weary of theater and came back to this. And when I came back, I was like, okay, no more impersonal stuff. I'm just going to be as brutally honest as I can be and as vulnerable as I can be, because, you wasted 10 years not performing. So, yeah, I think that really informed my material, in that because I couldn't exactly be who I was for a long period of time, now I just want to completely be who I am all the time in my stuff, which sometimes leads to oversharing, but sometimes it leads to really good connections between audience and performer, I think.
Yeah. Also, I guess broadens the horizons just a little bit.
Yeah, I think so.
Great. So your show is starting tomorrow, Friday, September 9th, and it's going to be running until the 17th, you said?
That's right. Yeah. There's 6 performances.
And so it's going to be at Performance Works on Granville Island.
That's right.
And people can buy tickets off your website, or I guess off the Fringe site.
Yeah, they can go to vancouverfringe.com, or you can go to disneydelusion.com, and it has a direct link to my site on there. And yeah, you can get tickets there.
Awesome. Well, thanks for coming on.
Oh, well, thanks so much for having me.